Coming up in today's video. Follow along with me and learn how to create a grain harvest corn husk witch doll. Having collected a bunch of corn husks, I filled a bowl with water and began submerging them. All submerged, I added a few items to keep them under the water and left them to soak for about 10 minutes. I then removed 4 husks and patted them dry. Having lined up double layers back to back, I tied the ends together with some jute string. With this complete, I gently flipped down the double layers, taking care as corn husks can tear quite easily. I then took some fabric scrap, stuffed a little ball of it inside, smoothed over the sides of the husk, and fastened with some string underneath. With head complete, I next began creating the arms with another 2 pieces of corn husk. By first overlapping them, preparing some jute string, rolling up the husks, and tying them in the center with the string. It's important to have string prepared before you roll, or it may unravel left unattended. I continue to tie both ends with more jute string. Then cut off the excess on both sides. The arms are now ready to be attached. I placed this in the center between the corn husks and tightly bound them together, creating a body for the doll. Be sure to pull and bind this tightly. Next, I was to create the skirt. I took more corn husks and tied some to the front of the doll, creating the front of her skirt first. I made sure to secure these tightly to the body with 3 knots. Then I did the same for the back of the skirt, tying the corn husks upwards over her face. It was now time to slowly and carefully pull down each of the corn husks, taking care with each one so as not to damage any of the layers. I cut the bottom of the skirt straight and tidied up the edges of the skirt with a bit of glue. Next, I chose a few larger pieces of corn husk to create a cape. First, I draped 2 large pieces over the doll's shoulders at an angle to create my desired shape. Taking care to keep them in place, I glued the 2 pieces together. I checked the size again against the doll. And then cut an oval shape out at the top to be able to slot the cape over the neck. I glued more pieces to the back of the cape for a long, drapey, corn husk inspired style. Hanging this carefully onto the shoulders of the doll, I lightly pressed down the cape to make a natural curve for the hem, as would occur with material. I then folded back the top of the cape into triangles, securing them with glue to create my desired shape. Using a single-fingered knotting method I figured out as a child, I braided a piece of yellow thread to create ties for the cape. I attached this to the neck of the cape and tied the pieces of string into a bow at the front. I cut some jute string to create hair for the doll. Then unwound the piece to make a wavy effect. I repeated this until I had enough for the sides of hair. I then started to create a conical hat. I took a large piece of corn husk, folded it in half, drew a circle, cut it out, and glued the pieces together. Next, I took another large piece of corn husk, rolled it into a cone, checked the size of the base I had created, cut the excess off and glued the sides together. I then tucked the ends under and into the cone and glued it to the base. I would be leaving the doll to dry overnight before adding the hair and hat, but there was one last thing I needed to do before calling it a night, and that was to tie her hands together so they dry in this shape. Folding the arms once dry may cause them to crack, so this is an important step to remember. The next day, I decided to add a couple more layers to her skirt to give her a bit more windswept movement in her dress before gluing down the pieces of twine I had unravelled for her hair. I started with the back, gluing the pieces further forward to give her a nice fringe. I carefully pressed these down into the glue, making sure each strand was securely in place before cutting the fringe to its desired length. I then glued on longer pieces of twine I had cut to size in the morning. It can be quite time-consuming to cut and unravel so many pieces, but it's all very worthwhile to give her that gorgeous, voluminous hair. I did also add a lot more strands to the back of her hair before untying her hands, gluing them together, and adding the smallest piece of wheat from my bunch. I of course also glued this in place and cut off the excess before adding the final touch to my doll, the conical hat. Thank you for joining along with me on today's journey. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and remember to subscribe and comment for more content. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!